You are sitting across from someone, a potential business partner, a new friend, someone you are considering trusting with something that matters. And behind their eyes, thoughts are moving that you cannot see. Intentions are forming that you cannot measure. A version of themselves is being presented that may or may not reflect reality. Your chest tightens slightly, not from fear, but from uncertainty. The ancient question surfaces. Who is this person, really? Most men spend their entire lives guessing. They trust based on charm. They partner based on presentation. They build relationships on assumptions that crumble the moment pressure is applied. And then, when betrayal comes, they act surprised, as if they had no way of knowing. But the ancients knew better. 2,000 years ago, in the marketplace of Athens, a barefoot philosopher named Socrates possessed an ability that terrified the powerful. He could sit down with a politician who claimed wisdom, a general who claimed courage, a poet who claimed insight, and within minutes strip away every layer of pretense until the naked soul stood exposed. He did this not through confrontation, not through interrogation, but through questions. Marcus Aurelius, ruling the largest empire the world had ever seen, faced liars and flatterers every single day. His life depended on knowing who deserved his trust. In his private journal, he wrote a single instruction to himself. When another blames you or hates you, or people voice similar criticisms, go to their souls, penetrate inside, and see what sort of people they are. Go to their souls. This was not mysticism. This was method. The Stoics developed a systematic approach to understanding human character, a way of asking questions that reveal the governing principles of another person's mind, not to manipulate, not to gain advantage, but to determine whether genuine trust is even possible. Seneca, who navigated Nero's court where friends became executioners overnight, put it simply: ponder for a long time whether you shall admit a given person to your friendship, but when you have decided to admit him, welcome him with all your heart and soul. The pondering is not passive. It is active. It requires the right questions. I spent years doing exactly the opposite. I trusted people who presented well. I partnered with people who said the right things. I learned, slowly and painfully, that what someone tells you about themselves is almost never the full truth. Not because everyone lies, but because most people do not know themselves well enough to give you accurate information. The Stoics understood this. It took me longer. Socrates called his method the elenchus, a form of cross-examination that did not seek to trap or trick, but to help someone articulate their own beliefs and then test those beliefs for consistency. What he discovered was radical. The contradictions in someone's stated values reveal the distance between who they claim to be and who they actually are. The gap is where truth lives. This is the foundation of what the Stoics called psychagogia, the leading of the soul. Understanding another person's true character through strategic questioning and careful observation. Not manipulation, discernment. The difference matters. Epictetus taught that every person has what he called a prohairesis, a moral character that determines all their choices. This faculty can be in good condition, or it can be corrupted. Questions that reveal someone's relationship to what they can and cannot control expose the state of their character more accurately than any resume, any reference, any amount of small talk. So here are 5 questions derived from Stoic psychology that reveal what anyone is really thinking. The first question: what do you think about when you cannot sleep at night? Ask this casually. The answer reveals their deepest anxieties, their unresolved conflicts, their true priorities. Someone who lies awake worrying about money has different governing principles than someone who lies awake worrying about relationships. Someone haunted by missed opportunities is not the same as someone haunted by past failures. What disturbs a person's sleep reveals what rules their waking life. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Nowhere you can go is more peaceful, more free of interruptions than your own soul. What disrupts that peace tells you everything." The second question: tell me about a time you were completely wrong about something important. This reveals capacity for self-reflection, intellectual humility, and relationship with truth. Watch carefully. Someone who cannot name a significant error lacks the self-awareness necessary for genuine growth. Someone who turns the question into a humble brag, where the mistake is actually a virtue in disguise, is performing rather than reflecting. Do they blame others? Do they show what they learned? Does defensiveness rise in their voice? The Stoics believed recognition of our own ignorance was the beginning of wisdom. Someone who cannot admit error cannot learn, and someone who cannot learn cannot be trusted with responsibility. The third question: if you could have any superpower, would you choose flight or invisibility, and what would you do with it? Part of you might dismiss this as trivial, which is precisely why it works. This seemingly playful question bypasses conscious defenses and reveals deep character. Flight typically appeals to those who want recognition, achievement, visibility, the desire to rise above. Invisibility appeals to those interested in access, information, operating unseen. Neither is inherently good or bad. But knowing which impulse drives someone tells you how they will behave when the stakes are high and no one is watching. Marcus Aurelius practiced what he called stripping away, looking beneath surface appearances to essential nature. Hypothetical questions bypass rehearsed self-presentation and reveal authentic impulses. The ancients left us more than philosophy. They left us a blueprint for understanding human character. Subscribe to Inner Imperium to uncover what they knew. The fourth question: what would you do if you knew you could not fail, and what is actually stopping you? The first part reveals true ambitions. The second part, the crucial part, reveals their relationship with fear, their excuses, and their self-honesty. Listen for where they place the obstacles. Someone who blames external circumstances for not pursuing what they want will blame external circumstances for everything. They will blame you when things go wrong. Someone who names internal obstacles, their own fear, their own hesitation, their own habits, demonstrates the self-awareness that makes genuine partnership possible. Epictetus made the distinction clear. Some things are up to us, our choices, our judgments, our actions. Other things are not. This question reveals whether someone locates power inside themselves or gives it away to forces beyond their control. The fifth question: who do you most admire, and what specifically do you admire about them? People reveal their aspirational self through their heroes. Someone who admires ruthless winners has different values than someone who admires wise leaders. But here's the crucial detail. Pay attention not just to who they name, but what trait they emphasize. Two people can admire the same figure for completely opposite reasons. One admires Marcus Aurelius for his power. Another admires him for his restraint. The difference is everything. Seneca wrote, "Choose a master whose life, conversation, and soul-expressing face have satisfied you. Picture him always to you as your protector or pattern." We become who we admire. Knowing someone's model reveals their destination. Now consider what changes when you master this skill. You stop being surprised by betrayal because you identified the warning signs before commitment. You stop wasting years on relationships that drain rather than strengthen you. You build a circle of people who genuinely share your values because you verified those values before extending trust. Marcus Aurelius wrote in his morning preparation, "The people I deal with today will be meddling, ungrateful, arrogant, dishonest, jealous, and surly. They are like this because they cannot tell good from evil." He was not being cynical. He was being prepared. He knew that most people operate from confused values and unexamined assumptions. The rare individual who has done the inner work becomes visible through these questions. But there is a deeper transformation. When you learn to read others accurately, you begin reading yourself with the same precision. Marcus Aurelius asked himself, "Whenever you are about to find fault with someone, ask yourself the following question: what fault of mine most nearly resembles the one I am about to criticize?" The mirror works both ways. Understanding others begins with understanding yourself. Socrates stood trial in Athens, accused of corrupting the youth. His real crime was exposing the corruption of their elders. His method was so effective at revealing truth that the establishment executed him for it. When asked about his wisdom, he gave the answer that echoes across 2,000 years. "I know that I know nothing, and that alone makes me wiser than those who think they know." The wisest man in Greece claimed only one piece of knowledge: awareness of his own ignorance. This is your starting point. These 5 questions are not a trick to gain advantage. They are a discipline of discernment. Ask them with genuine curiosity, not interrogation. Listen not just to the words, but to what lies beneath the words. The hesitation before answering. The flash of discomfort. The relief when they realize you are actually interested in the answer. And then ask yourself, if someone posed these questions to you today, what would your answers reveal? What do you think about at 3 in the morning? When were you last completely wrong? Do you dream of flight or invisibility? What would you pursue if failure was impossible? Who are you trying to become? The mirror does not lie. Neither does this philosophy. Subscribe to Inner Imperium for more uncomfortable truths that forge stronger men. Share in the comments. Which of these 5 questions would be hardest for you to answer, honestly? The soul speaks through what it fears, what it admires, what it cannot admit, and what it dreams of. Ask the right questions, and anyone will tell you who they truly are, including yourself.